Myth number 1, stretching reduces muscle soreness.
What's going on YouTube, it's Jason, and in this video we're going to be discussing muscle soreness and whether or not it's needed for you to progress and build muscle. Now, the formal term for muscle soreness is delayed onset of muscle soreness, or you might have heard of it as DOMS. DOMS is the pain you feel after a workout, usually about 24 to 48 hours afterwards. Now, confession time, when I first started training, I absolutely adored DOMS. It made me feel like I had a good workout and like something was happening to my body. And to be honest, I still do like the pain that comes with DOMS when it happens from time to time. But the big question is, do we need it for progression and muscle growth? And the way we figure that out is by answering these series of questions.
The first question, and probably the most important question to answer, is are you applying progressive overload? i.e., are you getting stronger over time?
Now, I've said this before in my video on progressive overload. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already. That stronger doesn't necessarily mean lifting more weight, although it can do. Stronger essentially means being better or improving in some way, shape or form. So yes, that can mean more weight lifted, but it could also mean doing more reps, more sets, more volume, or even slowing down your repetitions.
Question number 2 is around intensity. Are you actually pushing yourself in the gym? In my experience as a coach, most people self-preserve when they train and don't push themselves anywhere near hard enough. For example, if I do this set of chest press, as you can see, I'm struggling at rep 4. So let's say I go for 8. If I'm training like that each and every set till failure or close to failure, it doesn't really matter whether or not I ache the next day, I'm still going to progress.
Question number 3, how new are you to training? All things being equal, someone who is brand new to training is more likely to experience DOMS than someone who's intermediate or advanced.
The reason your muscles ache is because you're placing a new stimulus on your body. Once you've been training for a while, your body adapts to the stimulus and you shouldn't feel as sore the next day.
Question number 4, and this is kind of linked to question number 3, but do you even lift? i.e., how consistent are you with your training? Are you someone that rocks up to the gym every now and again, does a few reps of their favorite exercise, and then vanishes, never to be seen again till next January? If you are one of these people, then when you have time off, your muscles lose conditioning, and so when you go to the gym again, it literally is like giving your body a new stimulus, and so you're far more likely to experience DOMS than a person who is consistent.
Next question, are you doing new exercises? Let's take for example this single arm cable curl. Let's say that I was doing this every single time I came in the gym. If I were to switch from cable curls to preacher curls, simply because I'm working my muscles in a different plane, I may get more soreness the next day. Now, this is not a plug to mix it up constantly and switch up your exercises every 2 weeks, because your muscles actually need to get better at something in order to grow and improve.
The final question, and probably one of the most important questions, is what are your recovery protocols like outside your training? i.e., how are you sleeping? How's your nutrition? Are you getting enough protein in? Enough macro and micronutrients? And are you managing your stress levels? All of these things are going to have an impact on how your muscles recover and therefore how sore you feel the next day. To be honest, if you can confidently answer these 6 questions, if you're applying progressive overload, if you're pushing yourself in the gym, if you're not brand new to training, if you're consistent with your training, if you're not someone that mixes up their exercises every other week, and you're managing your recovery protocols, you shouldn't feel too much soreness, and you can still make progress and you can still build plenty of muscle. If I use myself as an example, the muscle soreness that I felt at the beginning of training or when I've had time off doesn't really happen to me that much because, humble brag, I'm super consistent and I've made loads of progress in the last 5, 10, 15 years of my training. So basically, all things being equal, if you're doing the right stuff, you are far less likely to experience soreness and if you do, it will be far less frequent. And this is why I say that muscle soreness, because it can be hit and miss, is not a reliable indicator of whether or not you've had a good workout. Cool, now that's out of the way, let's move on to some myths about muscle soreness. Myths about...
Myth number 1, stretching reduces muscle soreness. Now don't get me wrong, that's not to say that stretching isn't beneficial. Stretching is great for things like performance, range of motion, muscle health, and flexibility, all things that we do need. But when it comes to muscle soreness or DOMS, according to science, stretching isn't going to help you avoid this the next day.
Myth number 2, no pain, no gain. Now, this is really popular in the bodybuilding industry and is popular amongst most people that train. As I said, I fell victim to this as well, looking for the pain the next day as a sign of a good workout. But as I kind of mentioned, if you're doing the right things, the vast majority of us will not feel pain the next day and can still make progress perfectly fine and build muscle. You really do not need to look for pain as a sign of progress. A matter of fact, most of the time when you are progressing, if you are consistent, you probably won't feel pain. And sometimes pain can be a sign of muscle damage or injury, so don't get too excited or sadistic. Myth number 3, and this was doing the rounds when I first started training, but DOMS is caused by lactic acid. Again, this isn't true. Lactic acid typically gets produced after a workout, although it can be produced at rest, but it typically goes within 30 minutes to an hour after training. DOMS kicks in 24 to 48 hours after, so there isn't really a link according to science. And the final myth, if you are fit, you shouldn't experience DOMS. And when I touched on this earlier in the video, that's why I said all things being equal, because truth be told, some people are genetically predisposed to DOMS, i.e. they can be doing everything right, they can be fit, they can be consistent, they can be advanced in their training, and if they're predisposed, they may still get DOMS. Now of course, those factors that I listed does make them less likely to experience DOMS, but it can still happen if you're predisposed. So that's it, summing it all up, as lovely as muscle soreness feels, you don't need it to make progress. A matter of fact, if you're doing everything right, you can make progress and build lean tissue, and you probably won't get very sore after your workouts. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Don't forget to like it, comment below for the algorithm, it massively helps. Please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.